February the 3rd. I just welcome my class into, well, this is class number 5 now. We're entering the 5th module of our digital drawing segment of the digital drawing and imaging class. So I hope you're having fun so far. We still have a long way to go till the end of the semester. However, we still have a few weeks left until the midpoint of the semester. So I would like to wrap it up with some of the additional things we're going to learn in Illustrator, and we're going to cover that in the next classes going forward. All right, so let's share my camera now, and we'll continue. I've been really busy lately with working on one of my platforms. I think I did mention to you the platform that I've developed. I made this platform 7 years ago. Lately, I'm more avid towards it because of this situation, what's facing us with the tariffs, America, the US tariffs and Canadian tariffs. Everyone on social media and everyone's talking about buy Canadian. So I like to share with you. You probably wonder what I do outside from my teachings. I do a lot of entrepreneurial things. This is my platform that I've built. It's CanadianMadeProducts.ca. All right. So what I'm basically showcasing here is Canadian products, of course, and services. I have different categories. Uh, we have different featured Canadian products. So like alternatives to US products or other products as well. We have reviews, just like Yelp has reviews. So do we. We got some of the newest members. I just opened the floodgates the other day, and I'm giving away free membership. So I wanted more businesses to join, and basically that's it, right? I do have the mission statement that I worked on here. So it's supporting Canadians, strengthening our economy and service. All right. So basically, I did that one. Then we have alternatives. This is what I noticed people on social media talk about. So instead of buying like, let's say Kraft cheese, try, Black Diamond cheese, right? So this one over here, soft drinks and beverages, snacks, meats and processed foods, and other things. So I put some visuals in here so people can see the comparison of the two products, because I do see this list everywhere in social media and stuff. I said, how can I make it more compelling, like telling a story? So I did do the actual visual of it. And speaking of featured products, we do have some featured products here that we're listing as well. So you can basically, go ahead and look at that as well. And of course, if you click on these products, you can go ahead and contact. This is not an e-commerce website, but you could contact the retailer and purchase the products from them. So basically, I'm just channeling the marketing to the people that want to, sell the business and stuff, or the product in their business. All right. So I mentioned before we got reviews and we have a join feature as well. The big thing I want to point out is the languages. I do have all these different languages. Okay. So you could basically, you know, uh, convert it to any language instantly, and it's going to do just that. So it's quite robust, and I'm hoping it'll pick up more traction now. I got to do some more promotion of the platform. I'm showing it to you as well in case you like to throw it out there. If you know some Canadian businesses or people that are interested, there's the platform. All right, so let's move on now with our topic here. By the way, how do I probably you're wondering how did you code this platform? This is the source code for this, by the way. And there's a lot of programming that goes in. The thing is, yes, I did do a little bit of HTML and CSS on the platform, but I'll be honest with you, I'm using a backend platform that I'm integrating with this. So this is what I'm using as my web page builder. Okay, it's a directory platform builder hosted in LA, believe it or not. So it's not even Canadian. But this is pretty much how we operate the website and content and stuff. It's like content management software. Okay, that's how we do it. So whatever you're learning now, it does help you with your pages, because you go to your contents, you go to your home page or whatever page you want to, you do have your advanced SEO stuff you can type in with HTML and so on and so forth. So you do have an editor here that you could basically do. Okay, so you can do your HTML right in here into the pages that you're designing. So it's pretty cool. And everything that you're learning is going to be very useful for you going forward, even if you do WordPress stuff, okay, or other Shopify and all the other platforms that are out there. Knowing HTML and CSS can make it that much more impactful when you're a designer coding websites. All right, so I thought I'd share that with you. And now let's go over to our Blackboard. Like I said, I was impressed with your projects, okay? So keep up the good work. I know some of you never used Illustrator before, so considering that, and you guys did the logo and the business card, very nice. A good, you know, beginner exercise or mini assignment to start with. The big one, like I said, is the main project. So for that one, we'll have to do more advanced drawing techniques, which I'm going to get into. Okay, so basically, so far I was emphasizing the importance of you learning how to trace. I saw you in person last week. We did the tracing S exercise. We did a little bit of the logo challenge. We're gonna do more logo challenges in person when I see you. For now, I'm not gonna do any of that tonight. More the pen tool and the Apple logo. Keep practicing the pen tool. It's very important for you to master Illustrator. The pen tool is like your best friend because you can pretty much draw anything. And not to mention, I did demonstrate some of the three-dimensional stuff that I did with with Illustrator, and then I just kind of spun it with the 3D rotate tool, and we ended up with something like this, like 3D pieces. So just by tracing half of the shape, you can render 3D images at ease, right? So it's really beneficial to learn all these things that I'm showing you. Now we haven't done the Olympic ring, so maybe that's a good little warmer up to get into. You know what? I'll save this one for Wednesday because I do want to show you this in person. Okay, so we'll save this for Wednesday. All right, then we'll continue some of the other logo challenges. Just remind me. Um, this is now we're gonna get into class number 5, so you can have it visible now. We have an UI kit exercise. Okay, and these are the wireframes.zip file. All right. So what these files are, they're supplementary files to show you how crucial um, Illustrator can be in terms of generating material um, created or generated for your user interface. When I say material, what I'm talking about is the buttons, the check marks, the sliders, all the things that you see in the UI kit, which go into a website or a mobile device. If you just type in UI kit for, I don't know, even Apple, okay, Apple OS, okay, the Apple operating system, you can see here how a lot of professional designers create these UI kits to accommodate the software. Here's some of the other UI kits. So everything you see here, like this window here, these graphics, websites, all these buttons, menus, cursors, somebody had to implement the design for this to come true. Okay. You can think of all the apps that you're using now. Okay. All the websites that you see, everything needs to have like a UI kit generated or styled to present the website. Okay. Now you can still make this stuff in CSS and HTML, but the UI kits will make it that much more graphical. Okay. Just like you see here, this is the Apple menu from some of the UI kits here. Some more UI kits here. Let's just type in UI kit for mobile instead of Apple, right? You can see some of these UI kits that are used in different mobile interface screens. Now, what's good about this is you can incorporate this into your Adobe XD class. I know I asked you last week if you're using it in the Felicia's class, in the UX UI class. And you answered me, yes, you're using Adobe XD. So yes, whatever you're making in Illustrator is transferable into Adobe XD for you to implement and use in your basically projects or interactions that you're making. Okay. So this is all some of the UI kit, what it looks like. I'll show you some better examples in my lesson files that I have. So let's go ahead and download this one, the UI kit exercise. By the way, this is one of your next assignments. So your next assignment is for you to create a UI kit, okay? And I'm going to give you that today. And also, this will be due in, I guess, 2 weeks. And also, you're going to be handing in the main project also in 2 weeks. So you have two items due for me, the UI kit and the main project. I might give you a slight extension for that because it is the main project. So I'll check up on you how that one's going when the time comes. Let's open this UI kit exercise file. I'm going to download it on to the desktop. And then I'll download this wireframes.zip file as well. So do the same thing, get these two files for me. This is just an example of some of the stuff we're going to learn how to produce in Illustrator to create a more, surface material for buttons and various UI kits and color selections. Now that you know how to make logos and business cards and things like that, that you can incorporate, you can definitely make this stuff work as well. Okay. What this wireframe file is, just open that one up as well. Okay. This is just so you get an idea how wireframes are used for incorporating into various methods of prototypes and websites and mobiles. This is a very famous CNN website. It's an older version, I understand, but this is what the wireframe would look like to supplement the real website. Basically, without this wireframe, there would be no website. Somebody had to create this architectural wireframe, okay, to serve up the information architecture, the IA, I call it, not the AI, the wireframing, the thumbnails, the rough draft, whether it's a sketch or something like this, very boxy. And then you fill the content after with links, images, videos, menus, everything that comes across. Okay. So this is very important for you to understand how to make going forward. Here's an example of the Humber website. I can show you how to make a quick wireframe in Illustrator, just so you understand how placements work. And then we can produce something that's grayscale to black and white. This is how you can incorporate your user interface kit, the UI kit, into the website, so you can understand how from beginning to end how to create this stuff. Okay. So we can take any website that's already coexisting and convert it into like a wireframe. Maybe I'll use my website for today, right? We'll make that one a wireframe website. Okay. So you guys are doing the web production techniques or the web program here at Humber, learning a lot of the programming stuff, a little design with me and Felicia's class. Now it's time to see how we can dress up these websites using these wonderful design programs. All right, so let's get started. I'm gonna pick a website. We'll create a wireframe first, and then I'm gonna get into the UI kit afterwards. I'd like to kind of show you where the UI kit assignment is located. So if you go to your course here, your next assignment is this one over here. I'm gonna have to release it on you guys. So just give me 1 second because I haven't released it yet. Let me just go to the content here and have to change the due date from last semester to this semester. So today, the date is February the 3rd. This one will be due on the 17th. Okay, so 2 weeks from now, you're gonna produce one of these UI kits. And don't worry, like I always help you guys in class. I'll see you Wednesday. We're gonna get started and we're gonna do lots of fun things to get this completed. So that's when the due date is for this assignment. What you're doing is you're designing a rough layout model for a UI kit to support the design elements, which will play a key role into web production techniques applied to a website. Okay. The website can be chosen by you, so you can pick a theme if you like, or just do like a generic website design, even like a template website that can be integrated onto real composite production design, whether it's WordPress, Wix, Shopify, or any other template production system. Okay, because you can then code the buttons and affiliate all the graphics and stuff in there as whatever files necessary that you have to do, or even help you with a design that you're creating, implementing that on the actual programming scale as well. See, from prototype or concept prototype to actual the real product. This is how the evolution is in almost everything. The class exercises will help you basically create this design along with the support of the UI kit elements. So what I'm looking for is at least 3 various buttons or navigation styles. I'm looking for at least 3 various drop-down hamburger / search menus, at least 3 various sliders, a weather integrated widget or a map component, AI file with the design components. All this I can show you what I just did with my website. Okay. The only thing is that I took out the drop-down menu. I used to have one before. I think my dental has a drop-down menu. I'll show you my dental platform. So this one I have a drop-down menu because if you go to specialists, there's my drop-down menu for that. Okay, so I do have a drop-down menu for this one. Okay, so that's what a drop-down menu looks like. This is a rollover. Look, the buttons change colors. Here it's like, it's this blue that I'm matching here with a darker accent on the button. This is called a rollover. Okay, this is a drop-down rollover. Notice how this highlight is different as well. So you can produce these graphical elements to support the website or to help you plan the design of the website. This is another drop-down menu, which produces different languages. Let's do German in this case, you see? Just like that, I translated my entire website in German, okay? So you can do a lot of different languages here, right? Russian, right? You do Turkish, right? So it's amazing how fast and accurately these languages are. They're getting better now with AI, and I'm using Google in the back end, of course, for this. But this is a drop-down menu. Slider. A slider would look like something like this. Let's look for, well, let's go to my other platform to show you my sliders. Canadian made products. So if I look for featured products, what I have here is a slider. This slider determines my price range that I'm filtering the products that I'm looking for. Okay, so that's a slider right here. I can incorporate a slider with my UI kit. So if you look at here, various buttons, navigation styles. I just showed you the main ones. Drop-down menus, hamburger buttons. When this is a mobile website, when it looks like this becomes a hamburger button. Okay. So then this becomes my menu. So I guess it'll look like this basically. So this is the hamburger menu style that I'm using, and that could pass with my, drop-down hamburger menu or search menus, right? And the search menu is basically all over the place here. There's a search menu here. There's a search menu. There's a search menu here. I have several, and this is a postal code search menu with the globe I have, right? What else do I have here? 3 various sliders. I just showed you the sliders with the product search. Okay, so I can do like a few more examples of how this will look like. Maybe like this, maybe all the way full, all the way half empty. I can do three different styles to demonstrate that. I can move this around as well, right? That's how the sliders are. And weather integrated widget or a map. I don't have the weather here, but if I was to show you a weather widget, I mean, look at your phone on your home screen. You can check the weather and see what a weather widget even looks like, right? I can even show you one what right? This is a weather widget. So you get to design one of these. Okay. Doesn't have to be this complicated. It could be very simple, just to show a little bit of the weather widget. Because every UI kit, believe it or not, there's so many different types of weather widgets. Okay. I have one on my TV screens too that I have with the marketing. I have a little weather showing the advertising underneath. So these are weather widgets, and we'll make one of these as well. Okay. So you're gonna have to make one of these in Illustrator. And the last thing is you want to submit an AI file with the design components, with everything in it, right? A map component. I do have a map component on my platform here. If you're looking for a business and you click on search now, I do have a filters option. I have like a card view. Okay. I also have a map view, and this is my map. I'm using Google Maps, right? So you can then see how basically, and I have my when I roll over the pins, it shows me the business that I have rolling over on that particular item. So this could be part of my UI kit or the map. Now there's other map widgets that you can use, not just Google. Okay. You can basically use here, let me show you some other map widgets. Map. A lot of the Uber apps and stuff. I mean, this is a map widget. This is a map widget for Apple OS. You can keep it nice and simple. This is a different map widget. These are map widgets. Again, you can choose between the map or the weather. It doesn't have to be. The map is a little more detail oriented. I mean, it's a whole new different thing when you draw a map. I know it's hard. I don't know if you've seen the TTC map, right? This is a cool map of the TTC. Somebody had to make that, right? Somebody had to make this. So these are all custom maps that are done for whether it's an app or something that you're gonna have to utilize for. So again, you can choose between the map or a widget for this next assignment. So this looks like a few things you got to do, but honestly, once you do one, you start, and the other ones are very, very easy. And I will teach you how to make all these different components. Okay. So we're going to start with that and then move forward. So the way the wireframe stuff works is we're going to do a Photoshop segment also to build a website a prototype. We are going to incorporate some of the wireframe methods that we're learning here in Illustrator. But if I also do a wireframe of this website, or I want to build another website like this one, because don't forget I got three. I have a I have a Macedonian yellow page that I also have. I started this 20 years ago because that's my ethnicity, my background. So I did the actual yellow page book. Believe it or not, this platform here has more members than my other ones put together. Here I have over, I don't know what I'm at now, 16,000 members I have. Okay. So this is like my biggest one that I have. So they all look very similar. See the platforms that I built, thanks to my wireframing consistency, right? So if I show you my dental, okay, it looks like this too, right? Same type of design. All you see is different is the colors and some of the information and the content and the way everything is kind of laid out and presented, right? These are also, rollovers. So denturists, dentists, and then you have the actual links here, listings underneath. So again, just if I was to do a schema out of this, like a nice, and I have a calendar here too, I believe. Mm. Let's stick with the Canadian products. So if I was to wireframe this concept and integrate it with maybe, I don't know, I'm making two other platforms and I want to keep this design going here. So what I'm going to do first is maybe screen capture this or maybe produce it from scratch. Sometimes what people do is they sit down on a piece of paper and they draw down ideas, right? So if you go here, for example, sketched wireframes, or sketch wireframes, right? So this is what I'm talking about. People drawing this by hand and coming up with an idea and a solution and then building an actual website from this. Because then you can sit with your client and go through it. Say, hey, this page will go here, this page will go there. There's nothing wrong with doing this. As a matter of fact, I always recommend my students to work on sketches, even if you can't draw. It's good to put on paper so you know exactly what your plan is for your website. Okay. So this is why it's called wireframing or simple wireframe design. So no better program to do this than Illustrator because it's a vector program, right? So it's very simple to do these things with, which is where I'm heading towards this thing, right? So I already took a screen capture of this website. Pretend this didn't even exist. I can reverse engineer it and make the website or show you what it looked like before I did this. So I can create a wireframe. So basically we'll use this as a subject and then we'll do some of the UI kits that go in it. Okay. So let's go to Illustrator, create a new file. I'm going to start with web. I'll do the most common size. There's large and there's web. I'll go with this one, 1366 by 768. Okay, so under web, Illustrator, new, create. This is what the page will look like, right? Kind of matches my dimension of that one. I'm going to zoom out a bit, Command minus, Command plus, right? So if I'm creating a prototype or a recreation of something that's already there or something that I want to do, I'm just going to keep it on the side here so I can reference it better. So I don't have to go back and forth with my application. So I'm going to place this one here. Right. So I'm going to wireframe this to make it look, so then I can communicate to my client and say, what colors do you like? What font do you want to use? What's the logo and the typography and things like that? You can get into the surface materials after, right? So let's go ahead and produce this right now. We're going to go ahead and, I mean, you can open up the rulers if you like, or the guides. So you can go to, show grid as well. So there's the grid. You can use the grid for this design to keep it nice and even. The grid can be also calculated or customized to look like this. So if you go to the preferences, Illustrator settings, and you go to grid, guides and grid under preferences. Here I can go ahead and change grid line every 9 pixels. I'm going to make a grid line every 50 pixels. Every 50 pixels, you'll see a little box or a grid line. And I'll do a subdivision of 1. Because if I do a subdivision of 2 or 4, it'll be whatever the fraction is of 50. So if I do 2, it'll be 25, I believe, right? Something like that. So I'm going to leave it at 1. I'm not going to do any subdivisions. I'll press OK, and you'll see now how this is a lot bigger than before. And I'm going to use the artboard tool and just tweak my size of the artboard to match the size of my thing. It doesn't have to be the exact size. My website is still 1350, okay? Just going to type 1350 here by 750. That's how big the artboard will be for this design. And then I'm going to basically set up my blocks. It's all a bunch of rectangles at this point. So I'm going to use the rectangle tool and simply create a rectangle shape that goes all the way across like this. I can even go a little higher, a little lower. Maybe I'll go all the way up to here. This is a lot easier than making a website, because when you make the website, look at all the work you gotta program it. Where are you gonna get the images from? How do you know what layout are you making? How do you know the functionality, the links? Like how is this gonna work? So you have to have a plan first before you build the actual website. So I'm going to use a color schematic as well. So here I'm going to create a couple of rectangles. And these rectangles will represent some of the colors that I might want to use. If I want to use these colors of this website, I'm just going to use the eyedropper tool and grab this red, option drag, make another copy. I'm going to use this taupe color. Okay, and option drag this, make another one. Oops, I pressed the wrong button there. Okay. This will be like it's like a yellowy off-white kind of color. Okay. And then I'm going to use one more for my darker colors. So this is my color scheme for my entire website. Now I can pick the colors from here. I can also pick the colors from here. I can even pick my colors from, get a nice combination here, you know, color sets, right? And you can pick some color sets on the internet if you want. And if you go to, there's the Adobe Color Wheels. Adobe, you can use the Adobe Color Wheel, or you can use other platforms to pick a color set here, right? You can make a color palette. There's so many websites that do this for you now. You can base, and we talked about color last time with Pantones and stuff. So yeah, this looks like a pretty good tool here to integrate with your color picking scheme. So whatever it is, you pick the colors. Look, you can copy the hex code. You go back to your Illustrator file, right? And let's say I want to copy this color here. I double click, I paste the hex code right there. It's going to give me that color that I just picked from the website. You can really, really go ahead and hone your colors from any source that you're looking for. All right. So then, but when you build a prototype like this, it should be very generic and grayscale. Then you introduce the colors after. Like I said, I'm just doing a quick little delivery here to give you the outside scope on how you approach something like this. And then, of course, when we start doing Photoshop in the second segment of our modules, we're going to learn how to produce a website in Photoshop, actually, with a lot of other cool tricks. Illustrator is better at wireframing. Photoshop is better at creating and generating assets for an actual real website, which in turn, I'll even teach you how to create a website in Photoshop with HTML and CSS built into the program for prototyping purposes only. You're not going to use that method for a real website because you, at the end of the day, you have to make it responsive and code the website. But for quickly showing it to a client in a browser, we can do that. Okay, so then let's go ahead and make a grayscale version of this. I'm going to use another rectangle here. Basically do all this stuff like that. And I'm going to use different gray sliders. So I'm going to use this very, very light gray. This will be also lighter gray, perhaps a darker gray here. And then maybe I'll use another rectangle object this way. Now this will be an image. And the way you tell, maybe I'll switch the colors around. The way you tell Illustrator or to user what an image is meant to look like, you draw an X across. So if you do like one of these, let me press D for default, and you draw another one of these all the way across, you're telling that, hey, there's an image that's going to go there. This is an image placement holder. Most generic whatever application you're using on the internet or locally, this is what an image thumbnail may look like. Okay. So that's how you can tell there's an image that goes here, or you can just kind of leave it blank and fill in the details afterwards, right? Let's create another right here for a search bar. This will be, of course, rounded corners. This one will be also a certain color And I want to center this. I'm going to go ahead and go up here, left or center. We keep it nice and centered. And I don't like the outlines. So I'm going to go to the outlines and go no outlines. Nice and simple, just having that in there. Of course, I'm going to have some additional elements of my searching capability. These are slightly rounded as well. There's three, I believe, right? So 1, 2, then Command D, there's my 3. Now watch what I'll do. I'll select all 3, and I'm just going to minimize them accordingly to match my entire setup here. I'm going to include some typography. So, um, directory, product, search. I don't know if I'm doing a Canadian directory or some other website directory. So I'm just going to generically put directory product search here. So we know that the directory will have a product search category. This is going to be some kind of a, location search, right? And this is the actual call to action button that we're going to have, which has, search now, right? Or search like something like that, right? And this, I can have it inverted. I can have perhaps I can have this white, and this will be very, very dark. Exactly be the button there. To perfectly center these two, I'll select them like that and simply go and use this alignment tool up there to make it look like so, right? This is where the logo is going to go. So I'm just basically going to go ahead and put a logo, elliptical shape, logo. Well, the way people put logos, they just copy a text field and bring this to the front, logo. That's pretty much how you can tell, hey, this is where we're going to put a logo on this generic directory that we're designing. Again, the details can also be implemented there, simply using different product search here. I'm going to make this a little smaller. Maybe this will be 20, 18 points, right? This will be additional buttons that we need for different things. Right. You get the idea, right? So if I invest like another hour or so doing this, which I'm not, I'm just going to show you how to start it. You can basically create a wireframe of what the actual real website's going to look like, right? And this is the whole point of why people do this. Before you start coding a HTML website, it's so much easier once you make this. You know the platform. You're going to put a row, a section, a header, a hero image. Everything will be done based on this construct. And then you build the actual site as you go forward, right? Just to finish it off here, we're going to put another rectangle down here, right? And this will be like a lorem ipsum. To draw like a text box, just simply click and drag the mouse, and Illustrator will create like a text box summary of what this thing actually looks like. Alrighty, so there's your text summary. And of course, you have your title here as well. Oh, if you can't see it, just go right click, arrange, bring to front, which is I use usually a shortcut for that. And you do that one to make the heading go bigger. You can see where I'm going with this, right? So you can mimic something that's there and recreate something, or again, use a sketched version by hand. And once you create this, you can definitely go ahead and then you got the colors here to recreate this as the real thing. You just have to obviously put a picture in here. If I was gonna do this now, just to quickly show you, I can substitute this with an image very quickly. First, I save a wireframe version. Save as first. Wireframe concept. Okay. I'm going to save this as an Illustrator file. Always save an Illustrator file. Right. And then you can start playing around with the real materials. This is where the UI kit can come in handy, and you can replace all these things with real buttons, real, textures and colors and so on and so forth. So for example, let's say I grab an image here. Right? So let's say I want to use this image. I save this image first. Of course, you have your image sources saved into your respective locations. You select this rectangle here, right? And you go to File, okay? You go to Place, okay? When you go Place, you don't have to select the rectangle because the image is going to come in regardless. You select the image. Oh, by the way, when you place the image, make sure this link is off, because if it's on, it's going to rely on the source. And if the source is missing, you're going to be missing the image. Just be mindful of that, okay? Just leave it off for now. Just press place. And as you can see, it's not really giving me a placement holder. So just have to go draw it out. Probably better off. So again, click and drag the mouse. And there's my image. I want to trap the image in that box that I had, right? So what I'm going to do is send it to the back. Right. So there's the image. There's the box. Look. You can even do it here on the side. The box, the image. You select both of them. You select both objects, image and object. You right click and you make a clipping mask. The clipping mask will clip the image exactly as the box is meant to be. And then you post the image right here. And now you have your beautiful background design for your image search. And then you can go to town and change the colors around. This could be this color here. And the logo could be the red color. You're going to really dress this up any way you feel like, I guess. Maybe I'll make this a different color so you can see it, right? Right. So you can basically add your color scheme, and then of course you put your menus and have a rendered version of the website. And then you can implement these colors and these design elements on the actual website because you know exactly how it's going to look like. You can't just build a website blind, right? You got to see what you're doing. So once you have a plan and a vision, you can basically recreate something. And now we're going to get into the UI kits, like the little details of the website and how it's going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as my wireframe concept. We're going to call this rendered. Rendered means like adding color and details. So you can do a low fidelity or a high fidelity rendered concept. I'll just do a basic rendered concept for now. So I have both saved. And then we can create the UI kit on the side here or create a new document if you want. Okay. But the UI kit will be just like whatever we need to do with the assignments. So what I'm going to do in this case, let's go ahead and do like a search menu. Okay, so I'm going to go over some of the to-do list here. Let's do 3 various button styles or navigation styles. So I'm going to go ahead and create like a menu buttons here. I'll create another artboard. This artboard will be somewhat smaller just so I can place it better. And I don't need the grid anymore. You already saw the benefit of it, so I'm just going to hide the grid for now. Okay, enough with the grid. So there's 1, 2, Command D, 3. I'm going to use this style here. See that color. We'll make it slightly darker, right? So these are like maybe 3 button color styles for rollovers or whatever other things I might want to do with my schema, right? If I want to label the buttons, button 1, button 2, button 3 worked really well. For now, I mean, you can put whatever items you want. There's like my 3 various buttons for my navigation styles. And I can arrange this any way I want in order for me to showcase how my main buttons will look like in carrying a consistent color scheme. This is my color palette, so I'm going to definitely integrate that in here. In the corner, right? Just going to change this color a bit because it's too dim. Okay. My fonts, I'm using Myriad Pro, but of course you can get more assertive with fonts, right? So if using Myriad Pro, you can just copy your fonts here. Now, look for web fonts, okay? So some of the most popular web fonts. You have there's some of them here, okay? So if you look up these fonts, you can actually copy them. Arial, Helvetica, those are pretty safe as well to use because most computers have these fonts built in, okay? So I'm just gonna go with Arial and Helvetica here. So maybe Helvetica, and then I'll use Helvetica as a font. And I do have Helvetica here, so I'll do Helvetica. And I use Arial. Sometimes you have different font styles. These are both 16 points. Bold, right? So you can do some similar sets of fonts that you want. Okay, so maybe this will be 15 points. So you can also put your font styles here also, just to support your material design for your UI kit, right? Not necessary, but it's nice to have you more engaged in this stuff. And I see a lot of students do put the fonts in there. So various drop down or hamburger search menus here or search menus. So you can definitely put a search menu. I can convert this into a search menu here just by doing this and then doing a search. This will be created into outlines. Put like a little search icon here. Illustrator has really, really nice things you can look at under symbol libraries. Remember this one, web icons or web buttons and bars. Go to icons and you got all kinds of stuff. Here's a search icon, for example. You can lots of little, these are old. These have been here for over 20 years and they're still useful. You can still use them when you need to here and there, right? So maybe this can be part of my search. And I don't mind if you grab icons online and do stuff like that, but you have to expand this or break the link in order for you to color it. Okay, otherwise it won't really work. Alrighty, so that's your search icon. Then this is maybe like the drop down menu that I'm going to make. So this will be the drop down menu item here. This has the drop down function here. Okay. Item one, item two, and item three, right? And make sure you illustrate them specifically so basically you can see how this will play out and how it's going to work, right? So there's my drop down menus, search menus. You can basically showcase different ones to see how this will work. These materials, then I can add them to the website. You see how it's going to coincide and it's going to work everything quite nicely. Now that you know how Illustrator works, you can do this, in no time, basically. This is not as challenging as you making a logo, right? You're just working with colors, palettes, rectangles and shapes and a couple of icons that you can get online. Okay, so it's fairly easy. That's why I'm giving it to you now, so you're more familiar with the software. I already put you through the grind of learning the essential tools and techniques of the program. That's why logo is a good way to do it. And now you're doing fun stuff like this, right? All right, what's the next thing? Sliders. Sliders are cool, right? They go like this. You can create a, let me draw something with the, you can use the line tool. You can use the actual rectangles like this. And this could be a slider, maybe like a similar like the one I had on my website that produces different search results. When a member chooses perhaps a range, this could be a slider option that we're going to have. So maybe this could be different sliders that I'm going to incorporate into my platform. As you see here, I have the sliders work here like that, right? So I can have something similar or something different. I can showcase maybe the numbers, perhaps even just the color bar change that might work with my sliders. You can make these a little more fancy, of course, if you like, just by incorporating some other special effects and stuff. I'll show you that in a bit. So that's how sliders look like. A weather integrated widget or a map component. I'm not going to draw you a map, but I'll show you like the weather widget, perhaps. Maybe we'll do something like that here. Maybe that's more practical for us at this point. So maybe we're going to go ahead and use the map component here. Sorry, I meant the widget. Widget, we can grab anyone off the internet. We can just make a box like this, perhaps. We'll give it a gradient, not a solid, a gradient fill. It's the middle one over here. And we're going to use the gradient tool to simply draw a nice widget. If I double click on this, make it blue, blue and white, right? I'm going to draw a little circle here. And you guessed it, this will be the nice yellow sun. Yeah. And then the yellow sun will be right over here with this. Give me 1 second, guys. Just give me one quick second here. One quick second. Alrighty. So basically, this is the weather widget. I can look at some samples online just to see what some look like. Whoops, I just clicked on the date, the calendar. Another UI kit somebody had to design for that to exist. Everything that we're designing here, everything that you're looking at, whether you're looking at this Teams app or these icons that you see, these buttons, everything here is being done by a designer. Okay. Somebody had to design it. Where was I going with this? Looking for a weather widget. Because if you're not sure, look, you can make one something like that. Right? Nothing wrong with this weather widget. I'm going to copy this. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good, right? You can hear me good? Okay, perfect. Excellent. Right, so the weather widget, I'm just going to paste this example here. I'll create maybe the cloudy one because it shows different things. It is a little overcast these days with this kind of weather. Okay, so this will be, I can make this a gradient as well if I want. Okay. I can change this to become a radial gradient. So it's a little more dimensional. Come on now. And then I can change this to be yellow or this will be yellow. This will be orange. That'll bring up the sun tomorrow, right? I'm going to center this, right? And then here I'm going to put the city. So this is the city of Toronto. There. I'm going to match my font. I'm going to center all these together. And then I'm going to use some other type. Maybe I'll use this typography element here. And I'll put you want to put a space here. It's really cold out there, eh? The thing is, you can put a 0, and this 0 here to do like it's called a superscript. You'll have to open up the character palette, Control T or Command T. Just look for the character palette, because here you can actually go ahead and change this to superscript. Superscript, right? So you can have it looking like that. Now, technically, that's the wrong one because it should be like a 0. So what I like to do sometimes is to create my own 0. Like, honestly, I'll just create one of these, switch it, put it in there. Okay. More realistic. Then you can put things like, a few clouds or whatever. Sunny, but cold. This will be matching this 16-point font. Right. And they can put additional weather trackers down here. Right. Maybe it'll be cloudy a bit too. So maybe I'll draw some clouds. Watch this. Let me draw the clouds over here. Circle, circle, another circle, and then a rounded rectangle. What do they all have in common? Well, they're all going to tell the weather. Right. This will be a little alter as well. I'm just trying to recreate this. I select all that. Remember the Pathfinder, guys? Under here, remember? Pathfinder. There's the cloud. I'll make it another gradient here. This will be very, very, very light gray. I'll put this on top of that. No more sunny. Perhaps it'll be a little cloudy. And I'm going to make this a little transparent. Okay, so I'll make it look a little transparent, maybe like 40% or something like that. You get the idea, right? Basically, I recreated everything here for you in under 20 or 30 minutes. But I mean, it's not about how fast you do it. I want you to get used to doing this stuff because it's going to help you create future prototypes for apps, websites, all that stuff. Somebody has to design it. Why not you, right? Well, at least if you deal with the design team, you know what it takes to make something like this. You're not going to get overcharged, or your team is going to know what to expect and things like that, right? So from basically creating a wireframe model that was grayscale, we created a color composite, and then we also created a UI kit to aid the actual overall delivery of the design. Then I can transfer these graphics onto here, or better yet, save them and re-implement them in CSS or HTML. At least I know what colors I'm going with, what fonts, what sizes, what styles, in order for me to orchestrate this UI kit that'll help me for the website. So I'm going to resave this now because it's going to be the rendered version. And since we have a little bit of time, would you like to see what other students did last semester for this particular assignment? Let me see if you're interested or not. Raise your hand if you want to see what other students did for me last semester with this. All right, very good. So then let me show you. Okay. So I'm going to put this one away. And I'm going to minimize this, of course. I'll go to my last semester's folder. Let's just put this under class number 5. This is pretty much some advanced UI kit stuff that I did. All this is gradients instead of solid colors. And the way I did these little bevels, I just wanted to show, and this little bevel here, just in case you're wondering, I don't want to leave you hanging there, okay? Just to quickly recap that stuff. Oh, it doesn't exist anymore. Right, so I'm just going to open it from here. Class number 5. Here we go. So if I want to make these buttons more three-dimensional, what do I do? Because some of the buttons do have more presence, right? So then you do copy. Let me just do another one over here. Right. So what you do is you copy this one, right? You give it a gradient instead of a solid fill. You make the gradient go in a certain direction. In this case, so we'll use these colors here. Right. What I want to do now is copy, paste. The pasted one's going to go on top, but the gradient's going to go the other way. Right? If it goes the other way, that means if you resize this one smaller, it's going to look like a three-dimensional button. And of course, you center it perfectly. But this now is more like a three-dimensional button because it's got that look as opposed to the other one. Of course, this could be any color that you want. So this is how you can create those three-dimensional buttons, okay? The same thing with the little sliders and stuff, same thing. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of more things you can look at here under symbol libraries, web buttons and bars. These have been here for 30 years probably. So let's see how these look. Like you can grab any one of these. You can grab any one of these over here, right? And you can see how Illustrator made this button, okay? So how do we make this button? You can right click and, well, first you have to break the link, okay? When you break the link, you have to, oh, then it's done. So then you can break it apart. So this is a gradient with the transparency. This is another gradient. This is another gradient, and this is a triangle. If you assemble that together, you get that fancy looking glass eye candy button. Okay? So you can break things apart and learn how to recreate them. The same way I recreated this, except this thing created, a little more shapes involved and things like that. That's why learning how to draw is important, because then you can create almost anything. Okay. All right, let me get back to my promise now. I'm going to show you my former students and what they've done with this particular assignment that's due in 2 weeks. I'm giving you 2 weeks for this, so you have enough time. Let's go to 2024 courses under the fall. All right. And this is the UI kits. All right. This is what Abdul did. He did a sketch. Then he did a um, a grayscale wireframe. Now, if you want to do a grayscale wireframe, that's fine. It's nice to do a grayscale like I showed you, and then a colored version. Honestly, it does give you that progressive look. So I do want to see both, please. Do a grayscale and do a color. You can see what a great job he did. Really nice job. Very consistent with the colors. There's the color scheme. There's the detailed buttons. But once you make one, it's about copy, paste. You can just duplicate stuff and change stuff. Honestly, I think maybe an hour or two should be the most you can, even 3 hours. You can do a really nice job doing this little assignments. So that was one of my favorite ones there. Then there's something like, where's the UI kits here? There's another one over here, grayscale and color. Okay. You can see different styles, different designs. There's the weather widgets. There's the drop-down menu. There's one over here, the grayscale and the color. This one did the map. Okay. That one was not completed. There's the map too. There's another one over here, not finished. This one looks like it's finished. A little busy, but it works. It does the trick. And just remember what you see on your phone, the professional apps. A lot of them have very subtle, bold colors and stuff. You're not going to put red fonts on the weather, okay? Like you're not going to do stuff like that. So please be careful when you make your font choices. Okay, here's a nice clean one. I like this one. Okay, very simple, very elegant, easy to create. Okay, here's what another nice one. This is grayscale. This is the color version. Weather widget, color scheme, font sliders, menu selections. Okay, there's another one here. So grayscale, color. Grayscale, color. Grayscale, color. You can see some students did more than others. So I'm always gonna, push you to do better. Okay. There's another good one. Okay. You can tell when someone puts work into it, right? He put an image here in my comment, like don't try not to put images, but if it complements your overall design, that's fine. So it's okay if you put one here. Hola Wole. There's another good one. Look, sketch. I love this, eh? If you can give me like a sketch, then you show me like a grayscale, and then you do a color. This is a perfect execution because you're demonstrating all levels of creativity. You're showing me how your thought process works and how your design process is implemented, and then your finishing presentation, fully rendered execution. Okay, well done. Okay, here's another one here. This one is missing, but I know this one did a good job as well. I remember. There's another color and wireframe, right? Sorry, rendered. Okay, you see a lot of different ones, right? There's another one. Different weathers. I should put a snowing instead of sunny. Grayscale color. And you know, even in your portfolio, you want to have this in your portfolio because it shows you have the design skills. So now you can implement your design into your programming and development as well. This one did an actual mobile app example there. Okay. Ramnika. So there's her drawing. There's her grayscale. There's her rendering. Okay. Nicely done. A little busy and bright, but maybe it's meant to be that way for the platform that it's supposed to be served on, right? And this one's not finished. Here's another nice one. Okay. Some grayscale, black and white. Doesn't even have to have grayscale, just black and white color. And lastly, grayscale, color, grayscale, color. So yeah, that was my last cohort. As you can see, I have like 29 students there. So hopefully that kind of inspired you and gave you some better understanding of this next assignment. We'll do some practices this Wednesday in class. I also have some advanced drawing techniques to show you as well. And we're going to talk about the main project as well, but I wanted you to get this started also, okay? So this way all you have left is 2 items for me, that this assignment and the final project, and then we're gonna kind of go halfway through the semester. In 2 weeks, we have a week off, and then we start the latter half of the semester after that. Alrighty, so I'm gonna stop the recording at this point and then take up some questions. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in person Wednesday. And let's keep the ball rolling, okay? Keep up the good work and keep designing.